All right, here we go. Continuing on our work in Chapter 2. We're staying in Section 4. Yesterday was kind of a review of fraction skills with multiplying, and today we're going to continue on, now opening it up to all rational numbers. So at the top of your notes, will you put this heading in there, 2-4b, okay, 2-4b, and then, let me get this all squared away. Multiplying rational numbers. Okay, how is that different than just fractions like yesterday? Well, that means today we're going to have, you might have some whole numbers, you might have mixed numbers, you might have decimals, and you're going to have a combination of positive and negative values. So we're putting all of this together into one thing, basically. Alrighty? Here's your learning target for today. I can multiply, let's see, multiply rational numbers. Now, I think I want to add a little note on here in parentheses to remind you that rational numbers doesn't just mean the fractions we saw yesterday, okay? It could also be decimals. It can also be mixed numbers. And then adding into that, I want you to also put a little note on here that they could be positive or they could be negative. All of that really gives you all the rational numbers, okay? Let's get started. All right, here's rules I want you to follow as you start tackling these now. And a lot of these will be fractions, so I'm kind of gearing it toward when you multiply fractions. First, just decide what the sign of your answer is and put that on your answer right away, and then you don't have to worry about it, all right? Take two numbers at a time, okay? Two numbers. And here's what, remember, if you have the same sign, your answer is going to be positive, and if you have different signs, then you get a negative value. I love that. It's just a straightforward, steadfast rule. Second thing, I want you to take a minute to think about what your answer should be. I want you to estimate it. Round each number and then think, okay, my final answer should be about this. Then do it and then see if that falls in the same category or close to what your estimate was. If it's not, go back and take a look. Make sure there wasn't some sort of error that happened. Finally, now we want all fractions when you go to do the multiplication. I don't want you to have mixed numbers. You're going to make everything improper if you were given a mixed number. And then you're just going to simplify and multiply. Okay, let's find the sign, estimate it, get everything to be a fraction, simplify if you can, and then multiply it out. Sweet. So here's our first one, 4 1/7 times 1 10/11. Okay, so here we go. 4 1/7. Let's see. Actually, I might change this a little bit. I was trying to think of some good examples here, and I'm not sure if I like this one. Well, we'll just give it a whirl. This one would become 29/7. Okay. And then 1 10/11 becomes 21/11. Okay, we're going to multiply these. Well, here's what happens. 7 can fit into 21 3 times. Remember from watching yesterday's video? That was our good friend the fractionator who likes to come along and hack through and simplify the fractions. Yeah. All right, so here's what happens. That's about all I can do, frankly, for simplifying. So I end up with 29 times 3. All right, let's see. That might not be right on your top list of things you remember from your multiplication. 6, so I get 87 over 11. Shoot, that's almost 8. Frankly, you can keep your answer this way. Okay, I like improper fractions. That's good. Or if you're so trained to turn this back into a mixed number, 7 times 11 is 77. I'd have 10 left over, 7 10/11. Now, one thing I forgot to do was estimate this at the beginning. This is about 4. This is almost 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Is that what we got? Yes, we did. All right, we'll be better about doing that estimating first and then do the multiplying. All right, let's look at this. Negative 8 times 6/7. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is rewrite this as negative 8 over 1 times 6/7. Okay, first thing. Now I have a negative and a positive. The sign of my answer is going to be negative. As I look at this, that's a whole number, goody goody. This is really close to 1. So I'm thinking my answer, negative 8 times about 1, should be close to negative 8. Let's see what happens. I go to look at this one and I'm like, simplify anything? My fractionator friend, can he come and simplify anything? Afraid not. So we're just going to have to multiply negative 48 in my numerator, 7 in the denominator. All right, well, let's see what happens here. Changing this back into a mixed number, I know I'll have 6 wholes, because 6 times 7 is 42, and then I'd have 6 left over, and it has to be negative. Don't forget your sign. Before I said this should be pretty darn close to negative 8. This is really close to negative 7. Believe it or not, that's pretty good. Okay, keep going. Look at this one. This is 2. This is 5 1/3. They're both positive, so I know my final answer will be positive. This is a little bit more than 5. 2 times 5 is 10, so I'm thinking in my head, this should be probably a little bit more than 10. Let's see what happens, okay? 2 is going to stay as 2 over 1. I'm going to write that as an improper fraction. 5 1/3 is 16 thirds. Okay, I look at this and I say, all right, 1 uber fraction. And now I see, can I simplify anything? Nope, I can't. Okay, 3 is not a factor of either of these two values, so I'm just going to have to multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom. Now, if you want, you could leave your answer as 32 thirds, okay, but I'd kind of like to see if I'm close to my estimate. 3 can go into 30 exactly 10 times, and you'd have 2/3 left over. My estimate was 10. Nice. Good job. All right, now let's look at some of this. Fractions, fractions, fractions. Negative 2/3 times positive 9/2. I'm going to rewrite this just so I don't have the parentheses there. Okay, well, first I see I have a negative and a positive, so I know my final answer is negative. One giant uber fraction. Call upon your friend, the fractionator, hi-ya, to slash and simplify this thing. 2 divided by 2 is 1. This is much nicer. Now on top I get a 9. On the bottom I have 3 times 1. That's just 3. Hey, hold your horses. We can simplify this thing. It's still negative, but 9 divided by 3 is exactly 3. Done. Okay? So when you see a mixed number, change it to improper. Think about what your estimate should be. Think about your sign. Then go ahead and follow through. Okay? I guess I didn't even think about doing this one, did I? That's kind of close to 1. This is about 4. Yeah, you're getting pretty close. We're not way off the mark. Oh, now everybody's favorite. What about the decimals? Well, let's take a look at some. 2 times negative 51/100. Okay. I know. We got to do it long division way or long multiplication way. Get the sign of your answer up there so then you don't have to worry about it anymore. Okay? If you want to put that leading 0 in there, go ahead. Multiply by 2. 10, carry the 1. 2 times 0 plus 1 more. Now, remember when you have decimals, you count up how many decimal places are in each one of these. This had 2. I didn't have any written there. So I need to have 2 decimal places in my answer. 1 2/2. Okay. Oh, and I almost forgot it was negative. Shame on me. Okay. Now, does that make sense? 2, and this is about negative 1/2. I'd get about -1 for your answer. That makes sense. Look at this one. -4/10, -2 and 53/100. All right, negative times negative. I know my answer is positive. This is pretty close to half. This is around 2.5. I know half of 2.5 would be about 1 1/4 or so. So that's kind of my ballpark that I think I should get. Let's see what happens exactly when you multiply. All right, you don't have to line these up when you multiply because I'm just going to start taking 4 and going boom, 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 multiplying. 12, carry the 1, 20, 21, 6. Since this is a leading 0, I don't have to put all zeros in that row. I just have these digits here. Did I do something wrong? Again? Good gracious, I certainly did. It's not a 6, is it? Oh, this is horrible. This should be a 10. Good gravy. Here we go. 10. Yep, 12, 21, carry the 2, 8, 10. 1, 2, 3 decimal places. 1.012. And I said my estimate would be about 1 1/4. There you go. So this final answer is 1 12/1000. There we go. Hey, I think that's enough. I want to turn you loose in your workbook and go ahead and get started. I think this is page 13. You might need a piece of scratch paper because you don't get a ton of work or space to show your work in the workbook. So go ahead and give it a whirl. And as always, hey, may the force be with you.